So, for those of you who don't know, the FDA approved the vaccine, but it was not without last minute drama.
Yeah.
Yesterday afternoon, I think it was yesterday. I'm sitting here chilling. I get a text from Fady, and what did that text tell me? What did you tell me in that text, bro?
Well, it was a tweet of reporting that Mark Meadows had pressured the FDA chief to approve it, regardless of what the actual chief wanted to do. I think it was just like this was inevitable. It was coming, and he just wanted to do it. I think specifically that day, he was pressuring the FDA chief to move forward.
Right, and the thing is when that story broke, and I think most people would agree, it was just unnecessary BS because I think we were all moving towards accepting and understanding that this is going to be the vaccine that we'll be using. And for them to put pressure on it, for people who are necessarily not trusting it, that gives reason to believe that it might not have been fully vetted. Even though we all knew it was going to happen, just that little nudge and that public story that there was pressure from the White House on the FDA, that was potentially very damaging.
Yeah, that's the first thing I thought of when I read the thing was there was a big anti-vax movement in this country prior to COVID. This is something that the public health officials were working on prior and fighting prior to COVID. And because Trump politicized the vaccine almost immediately, because people on the right specifically were nicknaming it the Trump vaccine. And look, one thing I know for sure, regardless of what the polls say, people don't trust politicians. And so when you start linking politicians to vaccines, you start to find the distrust in the vaccines. There's people who believe in vaccines wholeheartedly, like myself, that are saying, I'm hesitant here, especially if Trump won the election, to say, I don't know what this looks like. They're running it down the pipe too fast. Some of it's just science, right? We already have the SARS COVID vaccine, the chemical breakdown of it. I was reading about it. That already exists for the SARS virus. You know what I mean? So the reason it's so fast is because part of it is we already have a foundation that's similar, and they're working off it to adjust it. But to claim that this is the fastest vaccine ever, and then to force people to approve it, it just doesn't look good, and it's optics. And you're fighting anti-vax movement already, and so this is not going to help at all.
It was amazing. The FDA had a press conference to talk about it today, and Stephen Hahn, the head of the FDA, was speaking, and the best part about it is they never mentioned Trump once. And part of me wonders if they just freelance with the press conference, if they know that this administration is coming to the end and we're just going to do what we want and we're going to do it how it needs to be done as opposed to how Trump wants it. Because you and I both know that Trump probably wanted to be on that stage with the FDA as they were talking about it, but it was a very scientific, very reassuring press conference, and it was because it was the experts, it was professionals talking very academically, technically, but in a way that was very understandable to the layman. And I don't know, did you see the press conference?
I didn't see the press conference, but you talked about it, we tweeted about it a little bit, and that's why Trump, I think, went ahead and released his own kind of press conference saying this is historic news. I want to say something, and I want to be very direct with this. Trump gets zero credit for this vaccine. Just because you happen to be president when this vaccine was developed means absolutely nothing to me. When the batter is in the batter box, the manager doesn't get credit for the home run that the batter hit, regardless of if he's coach of the team or not. Trump's going to try to take credit for it. Everybody on the right's going to try to take credit for it. But he gets zero credit for this. And that's why he's probably just he wants to be at those press conferences because he wants the image of the vaccine to be with him.
And one thing, quite frankly, it was a global effort driven by scientists. And I read today that Pfizer got a significant portion of its funding from Germany. So the reality is that Trump's running around trying to take a victory lap, but and you don't see Merkel running around trying to claim all sorts of credit. But the funding for it now, evidently, remember when it first came out, we found out we had first heard that Pfizer wasn't part of Operation Warp Speed, but it kind of clarified that they were, but I guess they didn't get funding. Is that what it was? Something where they were actually part of it,
Speed, but all their work was done outside of the Warp Speed parameters. So these guys know what they're doing. This is what these companies do. Trump didn't greenlight a vaccine. He didn't ask anybody to make a vaccine. This is what these companies do. The public health officials, not only in this country, but across the globe, this is what they do. So as far as I'm concerned, he gets no credit for it, regardless of what they say.